There's a new way of detecting COVID-19 that is exploding all over the world. There's talk of the cruise lines picking this up, and if they do, does it mean that we can get rid of those pesky pre-boarding COVID tests that we've been taking for so long? Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. If this is your first time seeing the channel, my name is Jordan and this is JJ Cruise. We are a cruise channel all about the passion and obsession that is cruising. And we have some pretty awesome and I think important news to share today. But before we get into that, if you could do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and hit the like button, it helps us out dramatically. We are on the road to 20,000 subscribers and beyond. And we would love for you to be a part of the first 20,000 JJ crew. Thanks in advance, and for those of you that have been so engaged in the channel over the last few months, we love you, we appreciate you, and it is with your support that we are able to continue putting out videos like we do. So thank you very much. Now let's jump into this news because it is quite incredible. This new method that we're going to be talking about today is actually, it's been used for the last few months, and it started a trial run in Florida back in September. However, we're starting to see this method move around the world, and now it is used in schools, airports, and businesses worldwide. And that is the use of our best friends, canines, to detect active COVID-19. Now, this is incredible. We already know that dogs are amazing creatures that can detect things like bombs, disease, and drugs. However, this new method of using canines to detect active COVID-19 is really mind-blowing. Now, they started this trial back in September at the Miami airport. So if you flew in and out of Miami from September, through early 2022, there's a good chance that you could have seen this happening. But it was primarily occurring for the crew going through kind of the back end of security. And a new process was implemented during that entire security screening that was the use of canines to detect COVID-19. The people that would be going through the security screening would be removing their mask, holding their mask down in front of the dog's nose as it would come along and sniff for active COVID. Now, you might say, I didn't know that COVID had a smell, but what's interesting is it does. When you have COVID-19, you're COVID-19 positive, you actually release what is called VOCs, that's volatile organic compounds. That's something that a dog can actually detect and smell. So when you hold your mask down in front of a dog's nose, they can sniff to see whether there's COVID in the mask or not. Now, these particular dogs, when they would sniff, they would sit when they would be able to tell active COVID. And they would stand back up and move on to the next person. So this was actually a really inexpensive and easy way to basically test to see if you have COVID. And what the amazing thing here is that it is the same, if not more, accuracy rate as an antigen test. I find that completely mind-blowing. Some of these dogs were sniffing at a rate of 99%. That is phenomenal. Now, the dogs that were being used in this study case down in Miami were named Cobra and One Beta. And yes, that's like One Beta, believe it. But these dogs had an accuracy sniff rate between 98 and 99%, which is absolutely phenomenal. So let's take this over to the cruise industry. Now, we know that right now, in order to board a cruise line, you do have to present a negative COVID test. What if they eliminated the COVID testing protocols and they just made you walk through an area where a dog sniffed your mask to tell if you had COVID-19 or not? Now, I can tell you, just as a person with anxiety myself, I know that that would make me super anxious, just to know if the dog sat down and, what if the dog sits down incorrectly and it's considered a false positive, but I already have that fear going to get a test right before a cruise anyways. So it would kind of just be switching one thing out for another, and obviously going through the process of the dog sniffing you out would be much quicker, especially for cruise lines like Disney Cruise Line and Virgin Voyages, which makes you still test the same day. It would eliminate that 20, 30, 40-minute waiting period while you're sitting very anxiously refreshing your email to see if you are COVID positive or not. Now, many of you may be wondering, how does a dog even get to this place? So this is what's interesting. These dogs were taken from the agricultural department at the airport and retrained to smell for COVID-19. These dogs previously were smelling for laurel wilt. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically a plant disease that can dramatically impact plants, such as avocado trees. So these dogs went to be from agricultural sniffing dogs to COVID-19 sniffing dogs. It's just, again, it's amazing that dogs are able to be retrained and smell for things like COVID-19. What I think is even more fascinating about this is that these dogs can be trained to smell specific strains of COVID-19. So regardless of if you have Delta or if you have Omicron or any new strains that may be coming out in the future, a dog can be specifically trained to look for that type of COVID. I think that this is important because if there was ever a point in time where we saw a much more deadlier or dangerous strain of the virus, these dogs could really come into play to be like, nope, this person has it and they can't go any further. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. I just think that it is a fascinating new way to detect COVID-19, and I think that the cruise lines, if they're smart, will start to implement this, even if it is just as an extra measure. Even if we do see 6 months where we're still having to get COVID tests done before the cruise, plus you have the dogs sniffing at the terminals. So now I turn this question around to you. Do you hate the pre-COVID testing? Does it make you feel safe? If the cruise lines were to remove the pre-COVID testing protocols and utilize these canines as a new way of detecting COVID-19, would you still feel just as safe to get on a cruise? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you have no other opinion on this topic, leave me a comment about what type of dog that you have, because I know that there are a lot of puppy parents that watch the channel and a lot of the JJ crew that have 4 legs. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about your dog in the comments. Well, thank you so much for watching today. Again, if you enjoyed the program, if you could hit that thumbs up button, and also please hit the subscribe, and don't forget to tune into the Wake Talk Show. Today I am here on the set of the Wake. This is where I do it. It's Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And it's a cruise news talk show. We talk about cruise news, we talk about tips. We normally have a fun money-saving tip for you, and it's always a good time. So if I don't see you before then, we will see you at the Wake. And until next time, see ya.